Air France Flight 447 was a scheduled passenger flight from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to Paris, France. On June 1, 2009, this routine international flight turned into a tragedy, claiming the lives of all 228 passengers and crew members on board. The aircraft operating Flight 447 was an Airbus A330-203, a modern twin-engine wide-body jetliner known for its reliability and safety record. The flight was under the command of Captain Marc Dubois, a veteran pilot with over 11,000 flight hours. Assisting him were two co-pilots, David Robert and Pierre-Cédric Bonin. With a seasoned crew and a technologically advanced aircraft, Flight 447 was prepared for what seemed like a routine transatlantic crossing. The flight took off from Rio de Janeiro Galeão International Airport at 7:29 p.m. local time. Conditions were favorable, and the flight crew was well rested and prepared for the long journey ahead. Passengers settled in for the overnight flight, unaware of the tragic events that would soon unfold. The initial hours of Flight 447 were uneventful. The aircraft climbed to its cruising altitude of 35,000 feet and settled into a comfortable eastward trajectory across the Atlantic Ocean. The flight path took the aircraft over the northeastern coast of Brazil and out over the open ocean. The first 3 hours of the flight proceeded normally, with the autopilot engaged and the flight crew monitoring the aircraft's systems. Air traffic control communications were routine, and there were no indications of any problems. The flight was progressing as planned, and both the passengers and crew could expect a smooth journey. As Flight 447 continued eastward, it approached a region known as the Intertropical Convergence Zone, or ITCZ. This zone is characterized by converging air masses, often resulting in thunderstorms and turbulent weather. While the ITCZ is a known weather phenomenon, its intensity and exact location can be unpredictable. The Intertropical Convergence Zone, often referred to as the doldrums, is a belt of low pressure that circles the Earth near the equator. It is characterized by warm, humid air rising and often condensing into towering thunderstorms. Pilots are well aware of the ITCZ and its potential for severe weather. Flight 447's weather radar was active, and the crew was receiving updates on weather conditions ahead. However, the intensity and precise location of thunderstorms within the ITCZ can change rapidly. The flight crew made the decision to continue on their planned route, believing they could navigate around the most severe cells. As Flight 447 entered the outer bands of the ITCZ, the aircraft began to encounter light to moderate turbulence. This is not unusual when flying through this region, and the flight crew would have been prepared for it. However, the situation was about to become more complicated. Stalling. Section 5. One last transmission. Instead of lowering the aircraft's nose to regain airspeed as trained, Bonin continued to pull back on the control stick, exacerbating the situation. This action caused the aircraft to climb further and actually enter a real aerodynamic stall. An aerodynamic stall occurs when the airflow over the wings is disrupted, causing a loss of lift. The aircraft's stall warning system activated again, this time correctly indicating the dangerous situation. However, the pilots, already confused by the earlier erroneous stall warning and the conflicting instrument readings, failed to recognize the urgency of the situation. They continued to struggle with the controls, unaware that their actions were actually deepening the stall. The aircraft continued to climb, exceeding its maximum altitude and entering what is known as a deep stall. At this point, the aircraft was descending rapidly, and the pilots were running out of time and altitude to recover. The last message transmitted from the aircraft was an automated warning cabin vertical speed. This chilling message indicated the aircraft's rapid descent. Section 6. Searching for answers. The disappearance of Air France Flight 447 triggered a massive search and rescue operation. The search zone spanned a vast area of the Atlantic Ocean, hampered by the remote location and the depths involved. Search and rescue teams from Brazil, France, and the United States, along with numerous ships and aircraft, participated in the effort. The initial search focused on the ocean's surface, hoping to locate debris or the aircraft's emergency locator transmitter, known as the ELT. However, days turned into weeks with no sign of the wreckage. The lack of an ELT signal made pinpointing the crash location extremely difficult. The search area was expanded and sophisticated sonar equipment was deployed to scan the ocean floor. The search for the aircraft's flight data recorders, known as black boxes, became paramount. These devices, which record flight data and cockpit audio, held the key to understanding what transpired in the cockpit during the aircraft's final moments. Finding these recorders was crucial for investigators to piece together the chain of events that led to the tragedy. Section 7. Black boxes recovered. After 2 years, the wreckage of Air France Flight 447 was found in the Atlantic Ocean. Experts used advanced underwater vehicles with sonar and cameras. The recovery of the flight data recorders was a priority. These devices withstand extreme impacts and deep-sea pressures. The black boxes were successfully recovered. The data was invaluable in understanding the crash. Section 8. A fatal chain of events. The investigation into the crash of Air France Flight 447 revealed a complex chain of events that culminated in tragedy. The initial trigger was the icing over of the pitot tubes, which led to inaccurate airspeed readings. This triggered a cascade of system failures and pilot errors that ultimately proved fatal. The investigation revealed that the pilots received conflicting information from the aircraft's instruments, causing confusion and disorientation. The pilots' training had not adequately prepared them for such a scenario, and they struggled to interpret the situation correctly. The lack of clear communication and coordination in the cockpit further compounded the problem. The investigation also highlighted the role of automation in modern aviation. The pilots had become accustomed to relying on the autopilot, and their manual flying skills had likely deteriorated. When the autopilot disengaged, they were ill-prepared to handle the situation effectively. The over-reliance on automation had eroded their ability to quickly diagnose and respond to unexpected events. Section 9. A design flaw. The crash of Air France Flight 447 revealed a design flaw in the Airbus A330's flight control system. The side-stick control system allows for greater pilot independence but can lead to confusion. The co-pilot's side-stick input caused the aircraft to pitch up, unbeknownst to the captain. The BEA concluded that this flaw, along with insufficient training, contributed to the crash. Section 10. Lessons learned. The tragic loss of Air France Flight 447 served as a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of aviation and the importance of continuous improvement in safety procedures. The investigation highlighted several key areas where improvements were needed, leading to significant changes in pilot training and aviation safety regulations worldwide. One of the most significant outcomes of the investigation was the increased emphasis on upset recovery training for pilots. This type of training focuses on teaching pilots how to recognize and recover from unusual attitudes, such as stalls and spins. The goal is to equip pilots with the skills and confidence to handle unexpected situations and prevent them from becoming disoriented or overwhelmed. The investigation also led to changes in the way pilots are trained to deal with unreliable airspeed indications. Pilots are now taught to prioritize other flight instruments, such as the attitude indicator and altimeter, when faced with conflicting or unreliable airspeed information. This helps them maintain control of the aircraft and avoid making erroneous control inputs. Section 11. Aviation safety improved. The legacy of Air France Flight 447 extends beyond immediate changes. The tragedy sparked a global conversation about aviation safety. The investigation highlighted the importance of data analysis. This led to new tools and techniques used worldwide. The tragedy underscored the importance of human factors. Emphasis on decision-making, communication, and stress management. Lessons led to improvements in training, design, and regulations.